Jeff Koons, I'm very, 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 very grateful to be interviewing you right now because just seeing your growth, your whole entire Heartletics, journey, I like to say, I've been a part of it since day one. And, the most recent, I like to say, few months, you've really grown, right? Not just physically with getting stronger, everything, but mentally. And today's interview, especially if you're somebody that maybe you're kind of feeling stuck in your life. Jeff, how old are you?
47.
47. Okay. So maybe you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and kind of feeling like maybe stuck in a rut, almost like a leaf just kind of floating in the wind. This interview right here, I'm just going to put it out there. It is hands down going to inspire you to take action. And that's going to be the biggest thing that just keep in mind for today's intentions. It's all about inspiration, it's all about taking action. So, Jeff, for starters, man, how did you find out about Heartletics? Give everybody kind of the rundown that, maybe they're listening on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes, and hey, they don't really know who you are. I guess how did you stumble upon Heartletics, and give everybody kind of the background story if you don't mind.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm 47, IT director. So I sit all the time. You know, was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes back in like 6, 7 years back. Was on Google searching for, how to lower my A1C, how to, do different things or whatever. And that probably got picked up by Facebook's algorithms or whatever. So I started seeing all these fitness ads and stumbled upon yours. And like, man, I saw a few other ones like, okay, look, they look goofy, but I saw yours and was like, well, I talked to my wife and made a call.
Me and you kind of look like each other. I got to put my glasses on, and I think that's what's sold the deal, right? You're like, hey, that's it kind of looks like my twin right there.
Right, right. I'm the little older brother.
Yeah, I
So
actually
yeah,
remember we had a Zoom, and it was you and your wife at the same time. Yeah, I
yep,
remember that, man. Long,
yep.
long time ago. And so then tell everybody that real quick, right? Like what happened your first go around, and then what kind of happened afterwards.
Yeah. So when I first found out I was diabetic, I was at 10.3 A1C and did two of the 12-week transformations. I lost 37 pounds from it. My A1C dropped back down to 5.3. Feeling really good and everything. And then February 22, I caught COVID.
Hmm.
And from there, it just went like straight downhill. And I didn't have the energy or motivation to do anything and gained most of that weight back, uh, about all but like 5 pounds of it. And so I reached back out in like January this year, and the slot opened up in February, and I got signed back up. A1C was still at 5.6, so that was still staying pretty good. But I just didn't feel like, how I felt 2 years back. And so far I've lost 23 pounds again. But I think the biggest thing is the mindset. I'm not where I want to be physically yet so far, but that's been my biggest win out of this.
Absolutely. And when we dive into mindset, like I said, guys, this is so inspiring just hearing Jeff's story. Real quick, Jeff, before Heartletics, I guess, you kind of mentioned obviously your A1C levels were through the roof,
Mhm.
everything was going on. Have you tried anything like before Heartletics to, lose the weight and, lower the A1C levels?
Yeah, when I first got diagnosed, I cut out soda, I cut out sugar, I went no carb for like 3 or 4 months. And that's what got me down from the 10.3 to the 7.7, but it didn't sustain after that point. It wasn't getting any better. And I tried intermittent fasting, off and on, tried experimenting with that. It didn't work out at all for me. And then I did a lot of like steady state cardio, which all that did was worsen my plantar fasciitis in feet. So, so yeah, I tried all that and it didn't work. So,
Okay. Okay. And let's dive into the mindset, man, because that's where I think once again everybody's going to gain a lot of value. So, a lot of guys, and maybe including yourself, Jeff, where you first come on and you're like, "Hey, I'm here to get in shape, right? Give me the macros, give me the workouts, right? Give me the check-ins." But you probably didn't realize that there's a lot that we talk about when it comes to the mindset here. So I guess, Jeff, kind of walk us through that. In terms of specifically. How has your mindset kind of adapted and grown, since starting Heartletics? I guess where was your mindset at before Heartletics compared to where is it at maybe now?
um, so I'd say just the most recent time through. So when I started in January, February, I was kind of in a depressive state. Um, Mainly just kind of like not caring about things. Not where I was 2 years previous. I was feeling great back then, had a lot of confidence, and I didn't have it at this point. And so yeah, that was one of the main reasons for getting back on. I mean, yeah, I wanted to get back into shape again and all that, but I really wanted to just kind of get my mind right. Um,
Yeah. And mindset's everything. I mean,
yep.
hands down. I mean, you even said it. You said I just wasn't feeling myself, you know? And so when it comes down to the mindset, like what do you think has been helping you before we dive into like the big mindset shift of stepping outside of your comfort zone, and starting what we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But I guess like what has helped you? Was it like, maybe these Zoom coaching calls? Was it the community to holding you accountable and supporting you? Was it any kind of like maybe it was prayer or gratitude or meditation or affirmations, anything like that? Like, I guess if somebody doesn't know anything about Heartletics and the mindset coaching, what would be some tips, maybe kind of helping them out, if that made sense?
I mean, it's all of the above, really. I mean, it's a combination of all that. So like prayer time is especially important for me. Getting in the mornings, I start out with my gratitude and affirmations uh, and just yeah, all that. I mean, now I'm starting to journal again. So there's so many different things that this program teaches that I wasn't doing before, and I really hadn't thought about doing before, to
Yeah.
get my mind back to where it needed to be healthy wise.
I love that. And Jeff, probably the last, I don't know, maybe 2 months, I've really seen a change in you, right? You've sat in here on these Zoom coaching calls and you're in the hot seat more than once. And sometimes when you're in the hot seat, it gets uncomfortable, right? Because my job as a coach is to challenge somebody. It means asking hard questions, right? And really getting them to perceive things just a little bit differently, just a whole different perspective shift. And one of the things that we did here was, I mean, we do a lot of challenges. That's what makes this community so much fun. But one of them was a step outside of your comfort zone challenge. And this is where I really got to see you just kind of grown and really just take life by the horns almost. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about, that specific challenge that you participated in? What is the step outside of your comfort zone challenge? And then, we can talk about where that kind of led to.
Yeah. So the stepping out of comfort zone challenge, we were to kind of do something that we weren't comfortable with every day, create a video of it and post it to the group for 7 days. And for me, I coupled that with the self-limiting beliefs and
Mm,
identifying those and talking through what that belief was and the power statement behind to offset it. And at the end of it, blowing it all up with Tannerite. That was the best part. So, but yeah, just going through that and really, for me, I'm not a public speaker. I don't like being in front of the camera. And so that was in itself a challenge, but just being open and getting that stuff off my chest of, okay, this is how I felt all these years for about myself and realizing, that has to change. And then this is what I'm doing about it. That was the wake up call. So
I love that. And let's talk a little bit more about the self-limiting beliefs, okay? We don't need to get in specifics, but um everybody has self-limiting beliefs, Jeff, including myself, right? Like everybody has something from the past where they feel like either they're not good enough or something happened in the past where it just kind of holds them back like a ball in a chain, and this is where guys typically get kind of stuck at, where it's like they want to grow, they want to focus more on personal development, they want to focus on becoming a better version of themselves mentally and physically, but maybe it's like they're held back and it's nothing physically that's holding back, but it's everything up here. And as you know, your mindset is, that's the foundation. That's what you need in order to be successful. It can either help you or it can hurt you. Henry Ford said it best, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So I guess, because I remember specifically that hot seat where we dove more into your self-limiting beliefs. And yeah, you wrote everything down, burned it up, right? I loved it. Tell us a little bit more about that exercise specifically. How did it make you feel kind of going down memory lane? Because a lot of people, they have some subconscious self-limiting beliefs that they don't even realize that they have until they start asking themselves questions. And if you remember from our one coaching call, it was all about, all right, once you find this out, Jeff, ask another question like, why are you feeling that way? Or what happens about this, right? So I guess, that time that you went through that exercise of going back through your self-limiting beliefs and writing everything down, How was that for you? How did that make you feel? Was that helpful at all? Like, going down memory lane. And then obviously I really want to know about like when you got to burn that piece of paper up in flames and be over and done with about it, like what was the feeling afterwards of actually doing that?
Well, so when I was going through each one of those, sat down and writing everything out, it was like sometimes something that I didn't realize was a problem until I kind of really deep dove into, okay, why am I feeling this way about this thing? And realizing, okay, there's stuff in my past that's causing this, or things that I've said about myself, whether I realize it or not. And it was kind of stressful. To think about that, and then also on top of that think about saying, okay, I'm going to say this out loud in front of hundreds of people, thousands of people I don't even know, and open myself up on it. So I mean, it's like, well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a stressful process, but at the same time it's healing to get it out and to say, okay, this is how I'm going to change that. And that's the biggest part, is the change.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I tell this to a lot of guys too. It's like everybody wants to adapt new habits, right? Like, hey, let's start working out more. Let's start drinking more water, hitting our macros, right? And like these are great habits to work towards, but at the same time, if let's say the foundation is a bunch of crap and you're putting like, like more houses on top of it, you're still going to have that crap there. And like this is why going backwards, right, and breaking free of some self-limiting beliefs or bad habits that's actually holding you back, that right there is really what kind of catapults somebody. And we got to see that with you firsthand. Everybody here on this call got to see that. And why don't you kind of share with everybody, because that transition of those self-limiting beliefs, which led to the stepping outside of your comfort zone, which led to where we are today, which is now an entrepreneur, which is now, a business owner, which is amazing. I guess for starters, right? Let me ask you a few questions about that. What led to, actually, I don't want to talk, right? I want you to talk. What led to the business? What was the business? And where did it kind of stem from? Where it was like, okay, hey, I want to step out my comfort zone, or I've been thinking about this for the longest. I really want to go ahead and pursue this. Tell us more about that, because that's where the inspiration's really gonna, hit the nail on the head with a lot of guys here.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of to back up just a tiny bit was, the reason why I chose to take up that challenge and to do the self-limiting beliefs and to do the comfort zone had to do with where I was at that point in my life, and a lot to do with being the hardest a year of my life, right? I had a lot of loss in the family, multiple losses, and I think with a lot of stress and financial issues and stuff like that that were just compounding everywhere. And I had to say that I wouldn't have made it through this without God and without supportive friends and family and without this community in Heartletics, because that's what got me through it. Being able to work through that with everybody and the support. So yeah, I have to start it with that. And then in that challenge, identifying those beliefs kind of started making me think, okay, yeah, I could actually do this, right? I can start on this. It's, and the idea comes, to um, how can I fix financial issues? Because my current job isn't going to pay me more. Um, what can I do outside of that? And identifying that, and part of that challenge, you challenged me to come up with a business plan. And so I sat down and I had a few different ideas, but this one kind of stuck out the best. And so I created that business plan, shared it. And so where I'm at now is, I decided to become a photographer. And a couple decades ago, I used to take pictures all the time and I enjoyed it, but didn't really get professional into it. And so I started taking steps. I went out and bought all the expensive equipment I needed, and was like, okay, this is freaking me out because financially I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing this anyway because I feel that's the right direction I got to go in. And yeah, I've already got two bookings, and it's just taken off from there. So
I absolutely love that because it started with, right, you were going through the hardest year of your life, hardest year, a lot of loss in the family. And you said, without God, without your family and loved ones, and without the community here, Like it would have been really, really difficult for you, to say the least. And that transition into you really focusing on like, all right, I gotta make a change here. I gotta do something, right? But I just don't know what to do or how to do things or how to just like, get out of the normal day in, day out Groundhog's Day that I'm in. And that's what kind of led to obviously being in the hot seat, self-limiting beliefs, step outside your comfort zone, which is hard things to do in a nutshell, on top of everything that you already been through this past year. But then it's just like, look on the other side of this. When you take that risk, when you take that leap of faith, right? And like, this is the beauty of all this, guys, is that idea was in the back of his head, right? Meaning, like, he had a passion for photography way back in the day, as you kind of mentioned, Jeff. And it's like you want to do something, right? And you want to make more money, you want to make more income, but you didn't know how, you didn't know what, right? It wasn't clear until it started with you just working on yourself, until it started with you working on your mindset, stepping outside your comfort zone, where all of a sudden it's just like an idea pops up. And maybe that's what it was. It was just an idea, but sure enough, you took action with that idea.
Right.
And that's what kind of separates you from somebody that talks the talk compares to walk the walk. Because I know a lot of guys that say, oh, I want to start a business. Or I know a lot of guys that say, oh, I want to get in shape, right? I want to get rid of the man boobs and the beer belly, but they don't do anything about it, right? There's a big difference. And so you actually took that leap of faith and you're doing something about it. And you can see that, man, it paid dividends because, yeah, you had to make an investment, right? You had to start the business, you had to create the business plan, which takes a lot of time, energy, thought patterns, right? To get everything all mapped out, obviously, investment into the equipment, but you just got two bookings from just taking that leap of faith. And who knows, right? Like that could turn into a referral basis and snowball effect where all of a sudden it's just like where we are today at, September 27th, 2024. Who's to say that this time next year, 2025, you might be just working for yourself all by yourself.
Right.
There is no IT job anymore, because now it's like you turn that side hustle into your full-time occupation. You might obviously have some, people that work underneath you that also are photographers as well. And now you got a team. So it's like this is what the creative juices start to flow on. But it only gets there if we do what? We work on the past. We work on breaking free of some of those self-limiting beliefs. And as you know, it's kind of hard to do at times, you
Yep.
know? Jeff, let me ask you this, okay? In terms of your whole entire Heartletics career, right? Heartletics journey that you've been a part of, okay? Um, what kind of helped you, I guess, the most really get involved? Because some guys, right? They show up, they do the workouts, they show up, they do the workouts, or excuse me, the macros, check-ins, the whole 9 yards. But then there's other guys, right, that maybe are here present on the coaching calls that are really active inside the community group, right? What do you think kind of separates the two? Like, what kind of has helped you kind of, really be involved and say, wow, this is different, right? Like, I want to stick around like these group of people right here.
I think the biggest thing with the coaching calls, especially, is being in a group that has the same kind of goals as I do and can help me out and talk through things when I need it the most. And, being able to have, just community. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I could, uh, anybody can really, lift weights or do their macros or take a diet or whatever, but not having that accountability and that community and the coaching help, that's what stands out above everything else. I mean, uh, specifically the calls for me, it was needing to hear it, not just seeing it typed in messages on an app. Being able to hear it and hear what people have to say and working through their stuff and being able to work through my stuff and getting encouragement from it. That's the biggest thing for me.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Because I tell everybody, it's just like, you know, anybody can sign up for a coaching program and get workouts, get macros, right? Even get check-ins and all that stuff. But what makes Heartletics stand out is this right here, right? It's coaching, it's community, it's accountability, it's a brotherhood, right? It's a friendship, it's networking, and like this is what makes it fun. This is what makes it different than just trying to just do some workouts and hit our protein goals for the day. This is what makes it a little bit more personal, but at the same time, this is what, I think, Bill, you actually mentioned this when me and you did your interview, where it's very rare, right? Quote unquote, I believe you said this. It's very rare to find, right? I think after college or after the workforce, you kind of mentioned, to find a network of guys that can kind of just stick together, that just are buddy buddy, and hey, you can bust some balls here, but you can challenge each other there. You can motivate there, and hey, you can hug and laugh and cry there. Where it's just like very rare in today to find that, you know? And it's different from social media, obviously, because this is more towards personal development. This is more towards health, fitness, nutrition, mindset, So, Jeff, I appreciate you saying that, man. Um, I would like to know from you, right? Three big takeaways, right? For if somebody is maybe listening to the very first time and they don't really know anything about what this is and they just need some inspiration or anything like that, like what would you say is like the three biggest takeaways to just motivate, encourage, inspire anybody, whether it's somebody that is here a part of Heartletics today watching this currently live, or whether it's somebody that maybe they're in a different state, different country, whatever the case may be, and they stumbled across this video. What are three big takeaways that you would love for them to kind of just know?
Um, I think, having the community is the biggest thing. Having the coaching calls 3 times a week, it's that you learn why this works, right? Not just like reading something. And like the other big takeaway would be, you know, it's changing your habits for a better and longer future. It's plain and simple. Your life's going to be better, and your mindset has to change in order to keep it consistent, and sustainable.
I love
And
that.
and those are my three things. It's like I could, like I said before, I could sit there and diet. I tried that. I could sit there and push weights. I tried that, and but this program makes it pretty much easy and able to be done without having to worry about how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of just like follow the plan and have fun with it,
Yeah.
type deal. It's like show up and, hey, we're going to make sure that you get the results that you're looking for. So I appreciate you saying that. Jeff, if let's say there is somebody that's on the outside, right? Maybe they're on the fence. They've, heard about Heartletics before. They've watched a few of the podcast episodes or, saw my Facebook ad, right? Just like how you kind of stumbled upon Heartletics. But they're still on the fence. And maybe they're thinking about scheduling a call and just seeing if Heartletics is a good fit for them. What would you kind of tell them to inspire them and help them if they're maybe kind of stuck like how you were way back in the day?
I would say that if you want to get your life together, both physically and mentally, schedule the call. Do it.
Mm.
And the only thing holding back is you. And you'll only benefit from it, but so will your family and friends with a better version of you.